This time we're going to talk about our punches, our hand strikes. So from our defensive stance, we're going to start with a jab. Now before we start, I want to talk about one thing, which is commonality of technique. So you will see from our jab, our open hand strikes, our fingers to the eyes, a lot of the movements are going to be identical, meaning your feet position, your hip position, and what your shoulders are doing. So all of that is going to be consistent. The one thing that's going to change, of course, is the positioning of our hands. All right? Now the other part that I want you to think about is that power comes from the hips and shoulders. So when we're delivering our strikes, we need to engage the hips, we need to engage our shoulders. The easiest way to think about this is a clock. So if you think of a clock, analog clock, we have the 12 at the top and the 6 at the bottom, the 9 and the 3. So right now my shoulders are positioned at 9 and 3. When we are executing our strikes, I want you to think that when you turn the hips, you're going to turn the shoulders, and we're going to be at 12 and 6. So something to park in the back of your mind as we're doing these strikes. From our defensive stance or from our fighting stance, we're going to talk about our jab. So remember that the chin is tucked in, the shoulders are rolled up, the hand is protecting the chin at the front, and the elbows tucked into the body. So our jab is done with the front hand, and our jab is a speed punch. So from this position, we're going to be coming out. At the extension of the punch, I want your shoulder and your chin to be connected. Now you'll see that I'm moving my hip, moving my shoulder, moving my hand, and right now, if I extend this rear hand, my shoulders are at 12 and 6. So from this position, I'm punching out. This time for our straight cross. We're going to engage the hips and the shoulders, but with the opposite hand. And the other part that I want you to think about is we're going to engage this rear foot. So we're going to twist that rear foot through. This hand is going to stay up, protecting the chin on this side. The chin is going to be protected by the shoulder on this side. And once again, you'll see that my shoulders are at 12 and 6. So this time for our straight cross, we turn. Now this would also be done with the hand open and through. Jab, cross. Jab, and cross. Our next punch is going to be a hook punch. So with the front hand, we're going to be bringing our hook punch across this way. So things to think about: power, hips, and shoulders. So I'm going to pivot on my front foot, which is going to allow my hip to turn. As my hip turns, my shoulder turns, followed by my hand. And the punch this time, I want you to think thumb is going to be up, not this way, but this way. So we turn here. Other hand protecting the chin. Jab, cross, hook. Jab, cross, hook. Jab, cross, hook. Our last punch is going to be a uppercut. So once again, from our defensive stance or fighting stance, hips and shoulders, 1 and 2. We're going to slightly bend the knees so that we're using our legs to generate power into our punch. So driving up this way. So if we did that in combination, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that is our jab, our cross, our hook, and our uppercut. The next punch that we're going to do is a back fist. So similar to our jab, we were coming this way, but the back fist is going to be elbow and striking with the rear of the core knuckles, and our target is to the temple. So this way. Now once again, this is a speed punch. So what is important is that as I drive it out, is that I retract it back as quick and back. This time we're going to be talking about our fingers to the eyes. So once again, as I mentioned, commonality of technique, turning the hip, turning the shoulder, driving the hand. What I want you to think about is keeping the thumb close to the hand. In the event the person moves, I don't want to hook my thumb.
For some reason, it said the camera just turned off.
Nope, it's still blinking.
You have to edit that out.
La la! All right. Our next punch is going to be fingers to the eyes. So from this position, remember we talked about hip and shoulder. We're going to drive the hand through. I want you to think about keeping the thumb in close to the hand. In the event the person moves, I don't want to hook my thumb on their forehead and dislocate my thumb. So I keep it in and close. And if I was doing the same with my rear hand, the motion is the same as our straight cross, but fingers open. Now the other way of doing our fingers to the eyes would be in a flicking motion. So driving the fingers out this way. Front hand, rear hand. Front hand, and rear hand. The next hand strike we're going to talk about is a palm heel strike. Now, our hand position for a palm heel strike will be with the fingers closed over and the thumb tucked in this way. Our point of attack is going to be the chin, it could be the nose, depending on the angle, it could be up and into the groin. So, but right now we're going to talk about palm heel strike to the chin. So once again, in our defensive stance, we're driving up and into the chin this way. So hip, shoulder, and driving. Hip and shoulder and driving upwards. Right? Now, don't extend the hand out. I want you to think maybe somebody's holding you by the lapel. Maybe they've pulled you in nice and tight. Your hands are up, and then we can strike right from this position. All right? So I'm not extending the hand out, but I'm driving the hand straight up this way. The next strikes we're going to talk about four. We're going to talk about 4 open hand strikes. So this time, this is going to be extending the hand to the front. So on our palm heel strike, it was straight up. This one is going to be straight out to the tip of the nose. So 1 and 2. Once again, hips and shoulders. Our hand position is the same as our jab and cross, but this time I'm using the palm of the hand to the tip of the nose. 1, 2. That's the first 2 strikes. The next 2 strikes are going to be slaps to the temple, right? To this position of the head here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Remembering to engage the hips. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The last 2 strikes we're going to do are ear slaps. And they are pretty much identical to the slaps to the temple. The only difference now is that our strikes are going to the ears. So front hand, rear hand, and the addition is going to be 2 hands, or stepping forward 2 hands. And you'll see this technique when we do our 2 wrist grab from above, where our hands come down and we slap to the ears. So front hand, rear hand, and 2 hands. Now just before we finish off, how can we practice this at home? Let's say we have a partner but we have no pads or equipment. What we're going to do is I want you to think of using your partner's fist. So if I hold my fist this way and I put my hand to the rear like this, my partner could be using this part of my hand for their palm heel strikes. So striking this way. I could hold it this way and they could strike straight on as if they're doing their open hand strikes to the nose. Now, how do we practice our ear slaps? We could just have our partner standing with their hands in this way and striking to the shoulders. So 1 and 2, 1 and 2, and striking, impacting the shoulder We don't want to be damaging our partner's ears or slapping our partner in the face. They're not going to be our partner for much longer. So same thing, slapping to the side of the arms. Those are the hands.